I'm sure by now you've heard of the situation that unfolded a few nights ago in Atlanta, and if you follow me on Instagram, you may have already seen my video where I go on to talk about why I'm not in favor of publishing the shooter's photo or their name. And the reason for that is I don't think someone like that deserves publicity. Like, they went out and they committed a heinous act. Let them fade away nameless, or better yet, let them die nameless. Why are we making them a household name now? And kind of moving on with that point, you have victims whose stories you can share. You can learn about who they were and what they did, right? And maybe you even have heroes in this particular situation. Maybe there was someone who was in one of those locations that shielded someone from harm's way. Why don't you hear about that? Why is it always got to be the focus on the shooter and sharing the name, sharing the photo? I feel like our society's kind of backwards, like we glorify the wrong people. But moving on, this is just going to be a one take on the whole situation. You know, I don't have notes. I don't have pictures for you today. I just got to talk about how the whole situation is being politicized. And really what I mean by that is one of the first things I saw, I'm talking maybe not even an hour after the shooting happened, was people so quick to point out the fact that it was a white guy who was the shooter. And I'm not saying that that's wrong. Like, that's the facts of the story. But it wasn't them just trying to be a journalist and identify who the shooter was. They had points ready to go because they had an agenda that they had to advance. So as soon as they found out that it was a white guy, that's all I saw. White people are domestic terrorists. This was white terrorism, white supremacy, apparently. And really, it was just, I saw people trying to advance their political agenda by making people fear white people. And I even went on to see those same people claim that this shooter was a conservative or a Republican or a Trump supporter. At the time of recording the video, I still have no idea whether that's true or not. Let's just say it is true. That's a dumb argument. Because you're taking one example, you're taking one individual that committed a heinous act who might happen to be a conservative, Republican, a Trump supporter, and now you're saying what? The 70 some odd million other people that voted for him, they believe in what they did, they might go and do the same thing, you better fear them. Like, what are you doing? You're dividing for the sole purpose of political gain. And moving on with that, I gotta throw something back in your face, because it seems like it's back on the table where you can highlight who did the heinous act, and almost maybe you can stereotype, because that's really what they were kind of trying to get at with, oh, white people did this, let's stereotype now. Does that mean if a black person goes out and does something bad, we can say, or we can highlight the fact that it was a black person? How about with a Mexican person? How about if somebody from a Middle Eastern country, right, maybe an Arab nation, if they go out and do something, can we spend a lot of time on who they were and maybe stereotype about them? If the answer is no, because you can't do that to minority groups, but it's okay to do that to white people, well, congratulations, you just heard an auditory mirror. And what that means is you just realized that you're trying to apply a whole different set of standards to a different group of people. You got to treat everyone as equals, or so we're told. Who knows? Maybe nowadays in 2021, treating everyone as equals is racist, right? But another thing I saw, and this was right before I hopped on and started recording this video, was somebody shared something on Instagram, and I said I have to include this in the video. And it was a post. It said something to the effect of, as we return to normal, let's take some time to think about what should return with us, right? So obviously what they're trying to get at is, oh, mass shootings, right? Because they go on, obviously they're trying to say that mass shootings are a common thing in America, and apparently they only happen in America, because there's people that honestly believe that. But if you actually do your research, you realize, no, the vast majority just go unreported because people are fixated with, one, America, and two, the point that they try and hammer home is high gun ownership equals, high amount of mass shootings. So when it starts happening in other countries, it goes against the narrative. So anyway, quick little rebuttal. But what I wanted to say was, here's another thing that you should maybe consider leaving behind. You trying to exploit situations for political gain. Yeah. Oh, that's right. You can't do that, because the reason why you do that is that's the only way you're able to advance your agenda. It's through fear. It's through appealing to people's emotions. But let me just say this. You doing that tactic, right? That strategy, you're part of the problem. You're not part of the solution. Even if you think you're part of the solution, you're not. But the next thing I want to talk about is people trying to attribute this to Trump calling the, virus, the Wuhan virus, the China virus. And I sit there and I'm just like, listen, I get it. The guy was rough around the edges, like he was a bull in a china closet. I get it. But if you're going to try and tell me that people can't critically think, and when they hear that Trump was saying, oh, well, it's the China virus, are you trying to tell me that it didn't originate in China? Because unless you can present to me different data, I'm pretty sure the first case was reported in China. Where specifically in China? Wuhan. Okay, but is it? If that's not true, tell me it's not true. But if it is true, are you going to tell me it's racist if I say that? Like, isn't that a fact? But really what I'm trying to get at is people can sit there and they can say, okay, well, yeah, that's why he was calling it China virus. That's why he was calling it Wuhan virus. That doesn't mean it's now fair game to go punch fellow Asian Americans. Clearly, they had nothing to do with it. Like, are you serious? Like, people can critically think for themselves and they can differentiate between the two. So to me, that's another just straw man argument. But kind of the last thing I just wanted to talk about, because you can get into people talking about gun control, over the whole situation, despite the fact that, again, they know nothing about it. Even to this day, just so you know, brief little side note, I think it was either a sheriff or somebody within the police department was saying that the individual, I want to say they went out, they bought the gun and got it within the same week or same day, which isn't a crazy thing because I live in Jersey, and as long as the background check system isn't backed up, I can do that same thing. But what the police official went on to say was there was nothing that in the background check that would have indicated that, this individual shouldn't have owned guns. So people were trying to tout, oh, well, we need, a mandatory waiting period in the background check system. And that's what one of those bills, I think it's HR 8, was proposed. But whether you have 1 day to do it or 10 days, if the police came out and said, hey, nothing, we didn't find anything in the background check, what's the difference between you getting it in day 1 or day 10? The police found nothing in the background check, so clearly it wouldn't have done anything to prevent this situation from happening. But again, that never stops people from trying to advance their agenda. Anyway, I know, we get sidetracked. It's a one take, I know. But just kind of the last thing I was trying to get at was, people are going to continue to exploit situations, for political purposes, to try and get people to be against others for that very reason, for political purposes, and who knows, maybe even for various reasons. Maybe they have a personal vendetta against a certain group of people, which might classify as something, but apparently not if it's against white people, right? Apparently that's okay. That's just being woke, or that's being anti-racist, right? All I'm trying to get at is, you gotta be able to stand up to this type of garbage, because if we sit back and we say, this is too crazy, this is too hot of water right here, we can't be talking about this, they're just gonna run with that narrative, and that's where I think it's so important to be able to speak up. I'm not saying you gotta fight fire with fire, like don't stoop to their level and start playing with their tactics, but like I kind of did, throw it back in their face. Let them see how it feels. Let them see how they react to it. Maybe they might realize just for a second, oh, maybe I'm not doing the right thing. Or they'll just keep chugging along because in their egos, they're always the right ones. That's why, kind of the last thing I'll say is that's why if you ever talk to somebody that's on the left, they'll always say, it's okay to change your mind, but they're never willing to change their mind because they're always, in their eyes, they always perceive themselves as correct or virtuous or righteous, whatever it is. So listen, like I said, it was a one take, unedited video, just giving you my thoughts on the situation. We're going to find out some more information as we go along. You can expect to hear more and more bills probably going to get proposed because, again, they go on to say, and this is time and time again from politicians, you never let a good tragedy go to waste. And that's pretty damn sinister, but unfortunately for folks in Washington, that rings true because you're going to see what actions they try to take in the coming weeks. So let me know your thoughts on this video. Let me know your thoughts on the situation. Do you agree? You disagree? I want to hear from you. But as always, I appreciate you sticking through, giving me your time, watching the video, and I hope to see you again sometime soon.